We'll go ahead and get started with an invocation. Second Vice President Melody, would you please lead us in a prayer?
Sure. Dear Lord, our Heavenly Father, as we come before you today, Father, we ask that you be in the midst of this meeting as we prepare to do things that's your work, Father, in our community and our city nationwide, Father. We ask that you be with us, guide us, and keep us. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much for that. All right, just to cover some old business here, in case you're unfamiliar with what we've been up to. Our branch spoke in favor of the now delayed North Heights rezoning project in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission recently. I implore you to continue to stay involved with that process and track it as we kind of hope that it's going to expeditiously come to a conclusion and a final vote here pretty soon. Our branch attended the North Heights Linen Service ribbon cutting and open house. That's going to be an historic opportunity for employment and for ownership in the North Heights community. So we're excited to support that initiative. Our branch participated in the planning and the activities associated with the Amarillo Juneteenth Coming Together celebration. The branch sponsored and met with students who attended the annual Corporal Lisa Cherry Memorial Amarillo Police Department Summer Camp. As you see, I'm wearing one of the shirts here. Our branch attended a fire safety meeting held at City Hall. We attended the Amarillo Police Department Hamlet Park Family Cookout. Our branch met with U.S. Representative Ronnie Jackson and his presumptive opponent, Ms. Kathleen Brown, and our executive committee continued their outstanding work since the last time we met. So those are a few of the highlights. Before we move into any new business, does anyone have any questions this time?
I would just like to add one thing on the 19th. It will go before the rezoning issue will go before P&Z, and they have said that they will do the vote that day to see if and then after that it will move on to council. So if anybody would be interested in speaking at that, it's at 3:00 down at City Hall on the 19th.
That is huge news. Thank you for that. If you'll create some sort of, or you know what, send the information to Bill, please, and then we'll make sure that gets out there. And I'm sure City will post something. It'll be on the website because it is the Planning and Zoning Commission. We're going to try to get people out there like we did the first time. Because I actually start my assistant principal contract on that day, I obviously will not be present, but hopefully you can get a lot of us there. That is good news. All right, moving over to new business. We have an opportunity to complete an Amarillo Parks and Recreation survey. You may have all seen that in the chat box. If you haven't had the chance yet, please go ahead and complete that survey. Share it with your friends, family, and neighbors. There's going to be a meeting at the Amarillo Civic Center in the North Exhibit Hall on July 12th, this upcoming Monday at 6 p.m. As the City Hall has done a few times before, they're going to continue having these community solutions meetings. It helps with budgetary planning that they're going to be involved in very soon. But the Parks and Recreation Department, I mean, it encompasses places like the Wofford Activity Center. So keep that in mind when you're making those decisions, and hopefully you have the opportunity to express your opinions and viewpoints through the survey as well as in person at the Amarillo Civic Center on July 12th at 6 p.m. The 87th legislature is having their special session, at least the first of projected two. That is ongoing right now. It actually launched, gavelled in this past Thursday. There are numerous issues that we are tracking, ranging from elections to critical race theory legislation, border security, etc. If you're not tuned in, you need to please pay attention to all that's going on there. You can get more information on Texas Legislator online, as well as the Texas Tribune. They have a lot of information that's out there. But however you choose to get that information, please make sure that you disseminate that with within your circles. And if given the opportunity and you feel so inclined to do so, as we have individually before, reach out to our legislators, let them know how you feel about those issues. Of course, State Representative Smithy and Price, as well as State Senator Seliger. They do look forward to hearing from you. I don't know if they always respond, but they do want to hear, and the more that we contact them regarding our concerns with the elections bill, which is now being rendered as Senate Bill, I believe it is 1. Please make sure that we get that out there, because it's going to be critical as we look forward to stopping that oppressive legislation.
Mm-hmm.
We have the, I was hoping Gunny would join us, because he has good information regarding an event he has planned. As you remember, on Thursday evening when we had our executive committee meeting, he had mentioned putting together care packages for our military members. And he actually has a military care package drive he's launching within his Committee on Armed Services and Veterans Affairs. He's going to be able to share more information on it later, but just to let you know, the event is going to take place on August 7th at Tripp's Harley-Davidson Hog Room at 1 p.m. And Gunny has created a flyer, and I'm hoping he's going to get with us soon and be able to share more information on that. But if you're on his committee, or if you're interested in joining that effort, please know that that's something that we're going to go ahead and launch. Again, that's the Military Care Package Drive, to be held on August 7th at 1 p.m. Please contact 3rd Vice President Holbrook Gunny Brown for more information. There's something here that maybe 2nd Vice President Melody Graves can speak on. It's the Mary Lou Hazelrick's 5th Annual Braids and Fades event at Bones Park. I believe it's going to be Sunday, August 15th at 8 o'clock a.m. That's an early start. 2nd Vice President, do you have anything you want to add on that?
Yes, just that this year we are continuing to do the braids and fades portion of it. We're also hoping to get enough corporate sponsorship to pass out 2,000 backpacks to area kids in Amarillo. The event is open for anybody. So we have barbers and braiders that do all kinds of hair. So we want it to be a very diverse event. If you need, I'm working on the flyer right now, and I'll get that out to you, Patrick, so you can put it on the page. But you can contact me if you want to donate. If you know someone that cuts hair, knows how to braid, let them get in touch with me. If you'd like to volunteer that day, we will have volunteer sign up that should be ready within the next week. It'll be a good time. Well, hopefully it'll be as successful as Juneteenth was. And we'll have vendors out there. One thing that we are going to be pushing is voter registration at every event that we're hosting. So anybody that's a VDR, if you're not a VDR, I encourage you to go take the test so you can be a VDR, so that we can go ahead and make sure that the community is represented when it's time to vote.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Vice President, for that information. Does anyone have any questions regarding some of the content we've discussed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I now have the pleasure of introducing you all to a gentleman that 2nd Vice President Melody Graves and I had the opportunity to meet recently. He's the head of school at Ascension Academy. Without further ado, Mr. Tim Audette, the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks, Patrick. I appreciate it. And good afternoon, everyone. As Patrick said, I am the head of school at Ascension Academy, and he has given me this opportunity to sit down with y'all and speak a little bit about Ascension, which I know that my predecessor talked to you recently, maybe a little over a year ago. But I'm new in Amarillo, so I have a different way of looking at things and approaching things. So I wanted to make sure I touched base with you also and shared a little bit about Ascension. Before I get there, I do want to share some of my background. My family and I, we moved to Amarillo 1 year ago. So in the middle of a pandemic, we packed up in Ohio and made the trip across country to take this position here. And it's actually a return to Texas for us. We have been out of the state for 20 years. And as a matter of fact, it's a return to West Texas. My wife and I met at Texas Tech. So it's really good for us to get back in this area. And I will tell you that we have really enjoyed Amarillo since we've been here, even though it was an unusual time to move. And I think Patrick kind of probably picked up on this from our our meeting we had, but I like to be very direct with how I approach things. That's kind of just my style of who I am. So I want to start with the fact that Ascension Academy is a private school. We are the only college preparatory school in the Panhandle. However, we are accessible to everyone. And I think that that's an important message, because as I've navigated the community for the past year, what I found is people maybe don't know who Ascension is, or sometimes they have the idea that we're only for people who have financial means, maybe only for people who live in just nicer neighborhoods, and really that can be further from the truth. So we're a school that's small on purpose. We are going to have about 180 students next year, 6th grade through 12th grade. And of those 180 students, 49% of them are on financial aid. And we have students that come from every walk of life in Amarillo. We have students that do come from homes that are very nice, and we have students on the opposite end of the spectrum, as Patrick and Melody know, that come from homes that are barely qualifying as homes. And the great thing about Ascension is we all come together and we live our mission together, no matter who you are or where you come from. And I just can't stress that enough. It's important to me, and it's important to our school to make sure that our student body is diverse and representative of not only Amarillo, but of the colleges and universities these students are going to go to in the future. So, you know, if you hear Ascension in the future, and hopefully we'll have the chance to be out to support some of your events. I know, Melody, I talked to you about the one in August. You know, we want to get out into our neighborhoods and our communities to make sure people know that we are here for everyone. And our goal as a school is to prepare students for college. So as a father, my daughter is a junior in college, and I have a 7th grade son. As a father, one of my most important jobs is to put my children in a position where they could best excel when they get to college or university. And that's what we do at Ascension. So really what I want to talk to you about is not academics. The academics are great, but I want to talk to you about all the other ways that we want to prepare a student for college. And Melody just put it in the chat. I appreciate that, because it was going to be part of my lead into the next thing is we don't have STAR testing. So our focus is really on college preparation. Now we have some students that go to great, amazing colleges that, you know, everyone would say is amazing, you know, Princeton, on and on. But we also have students that go to every other university in Texas and Oklahoma. And we have some students that stay home and go to West Texas A&M and Amarillo College. As a matter of fact, we're the only school around the Panhandle that has an automatic acceptance agreement with West Texas A&M. So if you graduate from Ascension, they are taking you in their freshman class, because they know our students are prepared. So how do we prepare them? What do we do? Well, we start with our small classes, and we have a relational faculty, and I think that's really important. And Patrick, I think this will resonate with you and your experiences. Because we have small classes, our faculty members, our teachers know our students' strengths and weaknesses. And they know that our teachers care about who they are and who they're becoming, no matter where they're at when they come to us. And so that allows us to really develop, there's 8 things that we focus on in addition to just our academics. That allows us to develop engaged learners. So we have a safe environment where it's okay for a student to raise their hand and engage in class. It's okay for them to answer a question and get it wrong sometimes. That's part of life, I think. My wife would tell you I get it wrong about 50% of the time. So we have learners that are engaged in their process. They know it's safe to expand their horizons and explore ideas that are different than what they may have been exposed to before. And I tell you that I think that's so much more important now than it's ever been in our country, to be around people that are different than you, and to have your boundaries, your educational boundaries pushed with other ideas. We develop critical thinkers. We want our young people to understand the context of what we're trying to approach. We want them to be able to evaluate information and then synthesize all of that information into their own thought process and ideas. We are very, very involved with developing confident communicators. So we want, and we work specifically with our students to get them comfortable to the point where we want them to take ownership of their education and be the initiator for communication with their teachers or with their administration. So we have leadership opportunities where they could do that. And then we have that faculty, again, that's going to sit down with a student to walk them through, hey, if you have a problem in class or you don't understand something or you disagree with something, how do you approach that in the classroom? How do you approach that teacher outside the classroom, or that adult outside the classroom? Because that's a tool we want in their toolbox for when they get to college and have professors that have classes of 200 people maybe that don't know you as an individual. You got to have that tool. We want to develop adaptable problem solvers that think across disciplines. So our disciplines work together. Our film class works with our history class. We evaluate time periods in history and how that is then portrayed in films, even some more modern films. We have our art class that engages with our math class for a project, for example, that's built around problem solving, that takes these two disciplines and help and pushes them together to expand, again, those boundaries for our students. It's more than just some of those tools that are good for academics. We push each of our students in all of our classes and all of our levels into collaboration. So we have them work in groups. We have them work with different kinds of groups than they would normally choose. They don't get to choose who their partners are all the time, because we want to create empathetic collaborators. So we want them to understand that when you're in a group working, there's going to be different people with different thoughts, and that's okay. That only enriches the group. So we stress that empathy and understanding what everyone else in that group is going through as they're working on projects together. We want to develop resilient individuals. I mean, I think that's so important. I would say when I went to Texas Tech, I was not very resilient. I was probably a little more shallow than I'd like to admit back when I was younger. And my wife and I got married, and man, I didn't know what the heck was going on. I wasn't resilient, and I had to join the Army to figure that out. Best decision I ever made in my life. But we want them to understand that healthy living is important to them. But we want them to understand that it's okay to not get something right the first time. In my line of work, and I'm sure everyone else's, you face those challenges and those obstacles that you see that you have to overcome, and that doesn't come easily. So we work with them on that journey while they're here. That sometimes that low grade isn't reflective of who you are. That low grade is reflective of something else that you need to address, and we help our students overcome them. And boy, you see the news today. Sometimes it's really sad to turn on, but the next thing we try to create every single year is informed citizens. Going back to that critical thinking, we want them to be able to look at a news article or a website and evaluate what the reality is. Right? We want them to think critically about it. We want them to understand the different arguments that are being made, how they're being made, and why they're being made, because informed citizens are so important. And the way I address our students is very direct also. It's, hey, these young people are going into a world that's so much more interconnected. We're going to be more connected with people outside of our country. We're going to be more connected with people in different areas of our country. And we have to understand and respect other people's cultures. We have to understand and respect the impact of that connectivity that they're going to have. And that's going to be part of their world and the jobs that they're going to have. And then the last thing we focus on is we want to develop ethical leaders, right? So we have a great leadership program, and we want our students to be very careful with how they use words, because our words shape actions. We want our students to understand character and understand that leadership is not always just telling somebody what to do. It's about being a servant. It's about accomplishing shared goals, and it's about putting others before yourself in everything you do leadership wise. So we're blessed with being small, because that allows us to not just take on our academics, but to address all of those 8 key things that I just mentioned for our students every day in different ways. And we really feel that as we're doing that, we are preparing our students for their college experience in a different way, and then their life beyond college. And for me, being new to Amarillo, it's important also because, I want our students to come back to Amarillo and bless the community with their talents. I want them to bring their skills and knowledge back here to make Amarillo stronger. Because although we're small and we've only been here for about 21 years, we are part of our community. As a small school, we're here for the community as well. So I told Patrick I was only going to talk for 10 minutes. So I'm already over time. That's the drawback of having a former history teacher speak to you. I'm already over time. So I want to cut it short so I give everyone a chance to see if you have any questions for me. If I could answer them, I'd love to.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Otte. Trust me, I understand what that's like, a former history teacher myself.
History teacher. Yeah.
I do want to open it up if anyone has any questions prior to a few that I may have. Please just unmute yourself and feel free to ask.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you all have transportation help for families that might need that.
So because we're small, we think outside the box. We have been able to overcome our transportation issues when they arise. So we have students that their families just can't get them here. So either we carpool them, or we'll have other people in our community that will pick them up and get them there. Yes.
Excellent question. Are there any others?
I have a question, Patrick. This is Ludell.
Yes, ma'am.
What did I miss when he talked about his funding? How does that school fund it?
Yeah, so we're a private organization. We're a nonprofit. So in a perfect world, we would be funded by our tuition, and that would help me sleep easier, Ludell, at night. But that's not the reality. So I mentioned earlier that 49% of our students are on some form of financial aid. I have to fundraise that money to make sure that we can make the tuition work for all of our families, and then also meet our budget needs as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for the question, Secretary Hill. Is there anyone else with a question? Well, I know the common thought regarding private or parochial schools is that they are taking away from, the public school system, and they're taking that talent away, and they don't always look at things as inclusively as public education does. Would you be able to kind of speak to that and where you think Ascension stands, with respect to the surrounding public school system?
Sure. Yeah. So, first of all, I would say that we draw from about a 70-mile radius. So we impact, as far as the impact on students we potentially would take away from public schools, it's spread out over a large area in a lot of different school districts. So I don't see it as taking away. Certainly it doesn't impact our funding, for instance. However, I do see it as an option for families. We strive every day to make sure that we are inclusive with our student body and how we approach our education, with being mission focused, because we know that our students are going to see very inclusive and diverse situations when they go to college and universities. So that's always really important for us. Going back to that theme of being the informed citizen, that's who we are as a country, and that's not changing. As a matter of fact, it's only going to get more diverse as the country reaches 2040. It's going to be incredibly diverse. So that's part of what we do. I don't really, as a person who we have to bring in students every year, we don't really view public schools as competition. Normally there's reasons that are multi-layered that would drive a family to look at a place like Ascension. For me, it's the chance to give a student a leg up in a different way. And that doesn't mean a public school can't do that, but it's a little bit different environment, and it's a little bit more focused because we're smaller. Did that answer your question, Patrick? I didn't want to tap dance around it. Did that answer it enough?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And just quick follow-up, because there is, I know, you start at what, 6th grade? So there's always an opportunity that your kid is getting that foundational public school education prior to even going to the college preparatory course.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and we take students at every grade also. Normally they come in the middle school, but we take students at every grade also for different reasons. And Melanie had a question also about how does a student qualify for admission?
Yes.
So we have an admissions process. It's fairly simple and straightforward with application. As far as an application, we do testing, and our testing is not really designed to be prohibitive. It's to make sure we know where a student would fit when they get here, right? So we use a version of the Iowa test, which has been used at the middle school level for years, just to see where that student is at, and then we get recommendations from teachers, and we look at their report card, and frankly, we want to make sure that student can be successful, but our goal is to meet the students where they're at. If that makes sense. So how do we approach students with special needs? So because we're private, we're not bound by 504s or IEPs. However, we will look at a student's 504 or the IEP to make sure that we can work with that family to facilitate their success. And that's really our goal at the end of the day, is that student success. Melody says, what's the current racial makeup of the campus? So we just lost 29 students in our graduating class. We're bringing in about 50. So I don't have the hard numbers for you for our upcoming year, but for our past year, right now, for our past year, we had just north of 24% of our students were non-Caucasian. So that encompasses students that are Black, that are Hispanic, that are Pakistani, Indian, Vietnamese, of Chinese descent, and then additionally we are also we've just started bringing in international students, again for that a different flavor of diversity as well. So we've been certified by the federal government to begin that program too. So that will help us also increase our diversity too. So really the overall goal at the end of the day is we want to mirror as best we can the diversity in our surrounding community. That's our goal. And we have some work till we get there.
Criselda, does that kind of answer your question as well?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Another question I have, I know you focus on the college preparatory side of things. Yeah. I know there are students who often, though, even in public or private school, what have you, decide, hey, I just want to enter the workforce. So do you offer any internship programs or any pathways to the workforce for your students?
Yeah. So we don't have the variety of options that say an AISD has or a CISD has. for that. And I'll be the first to say there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Usually, if our students want to take that path, they're going to finish our curriculum, and then we will help them just through our network of parents find options for internships so they can explore different opportunities as they're needed if they don't have that college focus. But we do have our fair share that by the end of their senior year they would prefer to join the military or go a different route, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I was having lunch just recently with a site manager at Bell, and they are dying for skilled labor, not college graduates, skilled labor in Amarillo, and it's important to them. So I think that's a great path as well. Now we are just like many other schools in Amarillo. We are part of Amarillo College's Degrees and Diplomas program. As a matter of fact, that program just had their first graduating class. So in the area, there were 44 students that graduated with their associate's degree in Amarillo from AC, and 10 of those were our students. So that's another option that we do have that fits in with helping students progress in different ways too.
That's excellent. No, thank you for that information. Does anyone else have any questions? All right.
Well, if you don't have any other questions, if you ever want to come stop by and see us, just let me know. Love to walk you around the campus and show you who we are and what we do. And I'm available for any questions or any discussion about Ascension anytime.
It's a very nice campus, and I think there will be something that take you up on that offer. And we just thank you for taking time to visit with us today. The Amarillo Branch NAACP continues to be a nonpartisan, nonprofit, all-inclusive organization. Sure. And we just want to have that venue so people can express their own opinions and ideas. And when we talk about education, that's first and foremost one of the things that we value. So we appreciate having all types of educational options being provided to our students.
Yeah. Thanks, Patrick.
Hey, thank you very much. All right, we're at the point now in the agenda. We're open floor. Does anyone have anything good for the group at this time? Maybe you have a nonprofit organization or entity you represent and you have an upcoming event. Feel free to share some details.
Y'all know I always got stuff going on.
VP, to us.
Right. Next Saturday, the North Heights Advisory Association will be hosting a cleanup at the Old Baptist St. Anthony's building. It will go from 8 to 11. If anybody would like to come, everybody is welcome. Also, Amarillo native Marcel Turner is hosting a T-Fit event at Bone Hooks Park, where they'll do like some health stuff. And then it's who walks around the park the most. I think there's a t-shirt involved, and that is actually starting at 7:30. So this is their second time to do that, and they hope to do it more. So if you'd like to get out there and work out, then that's definitely an option. Or if you want to come clean up, come and see me. We'll be out there.
Thank you for that. That's awesome. Chairwoman Peachin, I think you have an event coming up.
We do. Legal Aid is working with the Domestic Violence Coalition of Amarillo, and we are having a domestic violence faith-based summit, a faith leaders summit, and we are inviting anyone who is involved in their church, from pastors to Sunday school teachers to youth leaders, anyone who is active in their church and wants to know more about domestic violence. It is going to be July 15th from 8 o'clock until 4 o'clock at the Amarillo College Polk Street campus, the downtown campus, in the big auditorium. We are going to provide donuts and coffee in the morning, and we'll have some box lunches available also. And it is totally free, including the snacks. So we invite anyone to come. Please go to the Facebook page for the Amarillo Domestic Violence Coalition to register, or you can call me and I can hook you up with where you need to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing. I think there's a question here from Melody Sanders. Madam Vice President, would you like to respond?
Yes, Melanie, I have the information. I will send it to you. I have the study materials. So basically, you just study the materials, then you call the Santa Fe building with Malin Huntley and set up a time to go and take the test, and then you become a BDR. But I have all that stuff from Ali Ramos, so I will forward it to you to that email you sent me earlier.
All right. Is there anything else?
Melody, did something change from previous years? I must have missed that because we didn't test last year for BDR.
Yes, this year everybody's BDR expired on December 31st of 2020, and so now you have to test. Used to you had to go to the class and then you would test, and so now you have to either you have to study for the test on your own and then go take the test, and then you'll be a BDR.
Okay.
And it'll cover you for Potter and Randall County.
Through what year?
Oh gosh, I think it's every 2 years you have to get it redone, 2 or 3. I have to check for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but everybody's expired December 31st.
Yeah, Melanie, it's every 2 years.
2 years. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Edie.
All right.
And the tests that you take is the study materials, the same stuff that's on the website for the Secretary of State. So, and it's an open book test.
And I actually have the test and the answers and the study materials. So if anybody's interested, just let me know.
Yeah, and there's one question that's on there that's not in the study materials. So you probably need to get with Melanie for the other part.
Hey, be resourceful is what I will say. We all know in education. So I do have an update for you. We may be kind of coming to the end of Zoom meetings. The National Board of Directors for the NAACP took a vote yesterday to return to in-person events following our state and city guidelines. So we will have more information to share. I will certainly have to get back with you, and I will talk to my executive committee and see how we kind of roll that out. But like I said, this may be the end of Zoom meetings. Hallelujah. With that said, does anyone have anything else for the good of the group?
I just have a quick question about, I felt bad about having to hassle Melody so much about the meeting. I am not sure how we are supposed to receive information about upcoming meetings, as I don't get any emails from the NAACP branch, despite, having joined and paid dues, and I'm not really on Facebook enough to, follow the page religiously. Is there some way that we're supposed to be being communicated with from the branch?
Yes, no, and thank you for your membership. What we have done, as you mentioned, you know, on social media regularly, we post prior to our meetings at least 2 weeks in advance the Zoom membership or the Zoom registration link for our meetings. We also post that on our website. So even if you don't go to Facebook or Twitter, it's on Amarillo, NAACP.org. Like if you go there now, you'll see underneath the discussion points that we had with Representative Jackson and Ms. Brown, you'll see where we have that registration link for the meeting. So we constantly update our website like vigorously. I promise you, anything you need to know is up there in a timely fashion. But we can certainly always take suggestions on how to make sure for those who may not get on the website or utilize social media enough to actually promote the events that we have coming up. A lot of it could be word of mouth, but I have no problem working with our secretary and our communications chair to ensure that we send that information out via email. What works best for you, Melanie? I guess I should ask.
Well, the boards and the organizations that I've been on in the past, generally, yes, notice of meetings, upcoming events, fundraisers, those are communicated via email, in addition, of course, to other means, obviously on the website. But I do think some other form of like electronic outreach might be beneficial to have just more regular and consistent attendance. I know I haven't been at very many meetings, and I would like to try and do much better at that. Email is easiest for me, but again, I'll work with whatever the organization. I'll keep an eye on the website if that's how things are done.
Oh, no, you're a member, so we definitely take your thoughts into consideration, and I'll tell you now that you can expect our meetings at the very least to be the absolute most consistent thing. They happen on the second Saturday of each month, rain, snow, hail, shine, whatever. Second Saturday of each month at 1 p.m. And
Okay.
now as we move into an arena to where we are returning to normalcy, we will continue. If we need to have a transitional period to allow for that phase in of regular meetings, we'll provide that Zoom link, but also have a location for our meeting. But like I said, I'll have to get back with everyone publicly on that after I consult with the executive committee and see how we want to go forward. But certainly, if we need to start sending things via email, like we do that amongst ourselves on the executive committee, if we need to expand that, we will.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Does anyone have anything else? All right, I thank you for your time and attention today. Thank you again, Mr. Audit, for being here. It's always nice to get acquainted with a new friend, someone passionate about education as we are. With that said, our next meeting is going to be Saturday, August 14th, 2021 at 1 p.m. Details to follow as far as what that looks like for next month. And I will now entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And a motion from Second Vice President Graves. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, got a second from Pastor Rugger. Thank you very much. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. God bless you, and we will see you next time.
Okay.